They say some secrets don't just break you. They rewrite everything you thought you knew about the people you love. December 24th, 2018. A quiet Christmas Eve in Midtown Atlanta. At 11:37 p.m., paramedics arrived at what they thought was a tragic holiday accident. Carbon monoxide poisoning. A faulty heater. But what they found inside wasn't an accident. It was a massacre. 5 bodies, including 3 children, a grandmother, and a father, and 1 survivor, a wife and daughter-in-law, whose grief would soon turn to questions no one could answer. What could push a woman, a successful event planner, someone who built her career creating joy for others, to poison the very people she called family on the holiest night of the year? Was it madness? Was it betrayal? Or was it something darker? Something so twisted that even saying it out loud feels like a sin. I want you to think about this. If you discovered your husband was sleeping with his own mother, if you learned the children you thought were innocent were the product of years of incest happening right under your nose, how far would your forgiveness go? Would you walk away? Or would you make them feel your pain? This is True Crime's Altar, where love turns lethal, family ties unravel, and secrets explode into violence. If you're drawn to haunting true crime stories told with raw emotion and gripping detail, subscribe now, share this video, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. This is the story of Simone Carter Mitchell, a 32-year-old event planner from Atlanta, Georgia, whose fairy tale marriage became a nightmare that ended with 5 bodies and a question that haunted an entire city. How far would you go if you discovered the man you married was sleeping with his own mother? Simone Elise Carter was born in August 1986 in Newark, New Jersey. Her father, Gerald, worked for the Postal Service. Her mother, Diane, cleaned houses and studied nursing at night. They raised Simone with discipline and dreams. When she turned 16 in 2002, her mother sat her down. "Baby, you're smart. Real smart. Don't waste it chasing boys. You hear me?" Simone nodded. "I hear you, Mama. You're daddy and I didn't have choices. But you do." Simone took those words to heart. By graduation, she had a scholarship to Rutgers. She majored in communications, graduated in 2008, and worked her way into event planning. By 2015, she'd built enough reputation to land a position in Atlanta with Prestige Events Group. New city, fresh start. Within a year, she was coordinating celebrity weddings and corporate galas. But her personal life stayed empty. By 30, she wondered if she'd missed her shot at love. Then came April 2017. Simone was running a charity gala downtown when she met Devin Mitchell, 28, charming, volunteering to set up chairs. When an older volunteer struggled with a table, Devin lifted it without being asked. That night, he stayed late to help break down. They sat on the venue steps eating burgers. "My mom raised me alone after my dad died," Devin said. "Worked 3 jobs. She's my hero." When he asked her to dinner, she said yes. Over the next months, they fell fast. He surprised her with lunch. She dragged him to galleries. He listened when she talked. Really listened. By summer, she was in love. In August 2017, Devin brought her home to meet his mother. The house in East Point was modest but warm. Vanessa opened the door before they knocked. 47, petite, smooth brown skin. "You must be Simone," she said, pulling her into a hug. The house smelled like fried chicken and cornbread. Over dinner, Vanessa asked about Simone's work, her family, her dreams. "I'm proud of my boy," she said, squeezing Devin's hand. "But I can tell he's even prouder of you." After peach cobbler on the porch, Devin whispered, "Told you she'd love you." Simone felt it then. Belonging. This is my family now, she thought. By December 2017, they'd been together 8 months. 2 days before Christmas, Devin took her to Piedmont Park, where holiday lights glowed. He led her to a gazebo wrapped in white lights. "Simone, I didn't know what I was looking for until I met you," he said. He dropped to one knee, pulled out a ring. "Will you marry me?" She said yes through tears. Strangers clapped. She felt like the luckiest woman alive. Her parents visited in January 2018. Vanessa hosted a party, baked a cake, toasted them. I prayed Devin would find a woman who saw him the way I do. Simone, you're the answer to that prayer. Planning the wedding became Simone's passion. A chapel in Decatur, a garden reception with jazz. Vanessa helped with everything. Fittings, tastings, flowers. She even paid for part of the reception. You're giving me a daughter I never had, she said. June 16th, 2018, was perfect. Clear skies, white roses, candlelight. Simone walked down the aisle, her father crying. Devin looked at her, like she was everything. They said, I do. When Devin and Vanessa danced to a song for Mama, Simone watched thinking how blessed she was. After, Vanessa hugged her. Thank you for loving my son. Thank you for giving me a family, Simone whispered back. In 2 weeks, it would all shatter. The honeymoon was supposed to be Jamaica, but 3 days before departure, Vanessa called crying. Termite infestation. Fumigation for at least a week. Nowhere to go. She can stay with us, Devin said. Simone's stomach dropped, but she smiled. Of course. On June 19th, Vanessa moved into their guest room. She was everywhere. At breakfast. At dinner. Always present. Devin catered to her every need. Ma, you want tea? Ma, you need a blanket? Simone told herself it was temporary. But late at night, she couldn't shake the feeling something was off. June 30th changed everything. Simone woke nauseous. Stumbled to the bathroom. Opened the cabinet and saw a pregnancy test box. Half open. One missing. Her heart pounded. She checked the trash. Positive. 2 pink lines. She stared, confused. She hadn't taken a test. Wasn't pregnant. Footsteps. Light. Vanessa's. Simone walked into the hallway holding the test. Vanessa stood in a silk robe, smile freezing. Vanessa, Simone said slowly. Are you pregnant? Vanessa went pale. Simone, baby, let me explain. Are you pregnant? Yes or no? Yes. Simone's legs weakened. Who's the father? Vanessa looked away. Vanessa. Who is the father? Vanessa's lips trembled. Tears streamed. Then she said it. Devin. Simone laughed. Not from humor. From insanity. What? No. You mean someone named Devin. Not my Devin. Not your son. But Vanessa just stood there crying, silent. And in that silence, Simone understood. Her knees buckled. She grabbed the wall. You're lying. Please tell me you're lying. Vanessa shook her head slowly. And Simone's world collapsed. For a long moment, Simone just stood there in the hallway, staring at Vanessa. The pregnancy test felt heavy in her hand. Devin, she whispered. You said Devin. Vanessa nodded, tears streaming. Simone, please. Let me explain. Explain? Explain what? How you've been sleeping with your own son. It's not like that. Then what is it like, Vanessa? Vanessa opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Just sobs. Simone felt her stomach turn. She dropped the test and stumbled backward. I'm going to be sick. She ran to the bathroom and collapsed over the toilet. Her body heaved. She could hear Vanessa outside the door. Simone, baby, please. Let me talk to you. Go away. Simone, please. I said go away. The hallway went silent. She sat on the cold floor, staring at the ceiling. Every memory felt poison now. The way Vanessa touched Devin's arm. The way she looked at him during their dance. Simone had thought it was maternal love. Now she knew better. She didn't know how long she sat there. Finally, she heard heavier footsteps. Devin. Babe. You okay? Her breath caught. He didn't know. I'm fine. Just felt sick. You want me to come in? No. I'll be out in a minute. She stood, looked at herself in the mirror. Red eyes. Trembling hands. She splashed cold water on her face and whispered, pull it together. When she opened the door, Devin was on the bed, scrolling his phone. He looked up and smiled. You feeling better? She nodded. Good. My mom made breakfast. You hungry? Her stomach turned, but she forced a smile. Yeah, I'll be down in a minute. He kissed her forehead and left. Simone stood there, feeling something inside her shift. Not sadness, not anger, something colder. Downstairs, Vanessa was flipping pancakes. She turned when Simone walked in, eyes red and puffy. "Morning, baby," she said softly. Simone didn't respond. She poured coffee and sat. Devin was eating, scrolling his phone. "These pancakes are fire, Ma." Simone watched them. The ease, the familiarity, the way Vanessa refilled his juice before he asked. Suddenly she saw it. She'd been blind. "Simone, you want pancakes?" Vanessa asked. "No, I'm not hungry." "You sure, babe?" Devin looked up. "You need to eat." "I said I'm not hungry." Her tone was sharp. Devin frowned but didn't push. The silence was suffocating. After Devin left for work, Vanessa turned to Simone. "We need to talk." They sat in the living room. For a long moment, neither spoke. Finally, Vanessa broke the silence. "It started a long time ago. Before you. 6 years. 6 years. Simone felt the air leave her lungs. "So when I met him, you were already sleeping with him." Vanessa flinched. "After his father died, it was just us. We were close. Too close. One night, things just happened. Things don't just happen. You made a choice." Vanessa's hand shook. "I love him, Simone." "That's not love. That's sick." Vanessa's face crumpled. "You don't understand. How many times have you been pregnant by him?" Simone demanded. Vanessa looked away. "How many?" "3 times before." Simone's blood ran cold. "You have 3 children with him." "Yes." "Where are they?" "With me. At my house." "Does Devin know they're his?" Vanessa nodded. "How old?" 5, 3, and 2. 5, 3, and 2. The youngest was born in 2016. They were together then. He was with me when the youngest was born. He said he was at a conference. Vanessa just cried. "Get out," Simone said quietly. "What?" "Pack your things and leave. Now." "Simone, please. You've had 6 years. You don't get more time." Vanessa stared, then slowly walked to the guest room. An hour later, she came out with her suitcases. She paused at the door. "I'm sorry, Simone." Simone didn't respond. When the door closed, she collapsed on the couch and cried. Loud, gasping sobs. She cried for the life she thought she had. Then, in the silence, something changed. She stopped crying, wiped her face, sat up, and whispered, "He's going to pay. They're both going to pay." When Devin came home that night, the loft was dark. "Babe, you here?" Simone walked out, face calm. "Hey, where's my mom?" "She left. Said the fumigation was done." "She didn't tell me. Maybe she didn't want to bother you." He kissed her. "You okay? You seem off." "I'm fine. Just tired." As he walked to the bathroom, Simone watched him. He had no idea, and she realized something. She wasn't sad anymore. She was ready. Over the next days, Simone moved like a ghost. She went to work, smiled at clients, coordinated events. But inside, her mind raced. She needed proof. On July 3rd, she called in sick and drove to Vanessa's house in East Point. She parked down the street and waited. At 9:15 a.m., 3 children ran out. A boy, maybe 5. A girl, about 3. A toddler, barely 2. Then she saw it. The oldest boy turned, and Simone's breath caught. He had Devin's face. Same eyes. Same smile. Same dimple. She pulled out her phone and started taking pictures. After an hour, Vanessa called them inside. Simone drove away, hands shaking. That night, she couldn't sleep. Around 2 a.m., she slipped out of bed and opened her laptop. DNA testing. Private investigators. Divorce lawyers. By sunrise, she'd made a decision. She wasn't going to confront him. She was going to gather evidence. And then destroy him. She hired a private investigator named Leonard Hayes. They met at a diner on July 10th. She slid him a folder with photos and addresses. "I need proof those children are his." Leonard nodded. "You'll get it." By the end of July, he called. "I've got something." They met again. He slid her a thick folder. Birth certificates. Devin Mitchell listed as father on all three. Medical records, hospital logs. He was present at all three births. Simone stared at the documents. Undeniable proof. Thank you. She paid him and left. By August, Simone had decided. She wasn't getting a divorce. Divorce was too clean. She wanted them to suffer. She started researching. Untraceable poisons. Staged accidents. She told herself she was just thinking. But she knew where this was heading. One night in September, Devin's phone buzzed. He was in the shower. A text from V. Baby, I miss you. When can I see you? Simone unlocked his phone. Devin's password was his mother's birthday, and scrolled through months of messages. I love you. The baby's kicking. She took screenshots, emailed them to herself, deleted the sent emails. When Devin came out, she was pretending to read. He climbed into bed and fell asleep. Simone lay awake, staring at the ceiling. She wasn't angry anymore. She was cold, calculating. October came. Simone kept playing the devoted wife. Cooked dinner, smiled, laughed. On October 15th, she bought a carbon monoxide detector. At home, she researched carbon monoxide poisoning. Symptoms. Timeline. Devin noticed the detector. What's that for? Just being safe. I read about a family that died from a leak. It scared me. Good idea, babe. By November, Vanessa was visibly pregnant. Simone watched the house, documented everything. One night, Devin came home smelling like Vanessa's perfume. Simone said nothing, just poured him wine and watched him drink. And in that moment, she knew. She was going to invite them all over for Christmas Eve. One last family dinner. And she was going to make sure none of them walked out alive. December arrived cold and quiet. Simone moved through the days with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. She decorated the loft for Christmas, hung lights, set up a tree. Devin helped, laughing, talking about holiday plans. He had no idea she was counting down. On December 5th, Simone called Vanessa. Her voice was sweet, controlled. Hey, Vanessa, it's me. There was a long pause. Simone. Yeah. Listen, I've been thinking about everything, and I think we should talk. Really talk. All of us. What do you mean? I mean Christmas Eve. Come over for dinner. You, Devin, and the kids. Let's try to figure this out like adults. Vanessa's voice trembled. You want us to come over? Yes. I think it's time we face this. Don't you? I don't know what to say. Say yes, Vanessa. Say you'll come. Another pause. Okay. We'll come. Simone smiled into the phone. Good. I'll see you on the 24th, 6 o'clock. She hung up and stared at the calendar on the wall. 19 days. That afternoon, she went shopping. Not for groceries. For supplies. She drove to a hardware store in Marietta, 30 minutes outside Atlanta, where no one knew her face. She bought duct tape, plastic sheeting, heavy-duty gloves. The cashier barely looked at her. Doing some home repairs? He asked. Something like that, Simone said, smiling. At a different store in Roswell, she bought sleeping pills. Over the counter, nothing suspicious. The pharmacist asked if she had trouble sleeping. Sometimes, Simone said. My husband snores. The pharmacist laughed. I hear that a lot. Simone paid cash and left. In her car, she sat in the parking lot and stared at the bag. Her hands were steady. Her heartbeat calm. She wasn't nervous. She was focused. Over the next week, she researched more. She read medical journals about carbon monoxide poisoning. Studied cases where families died in their sleep. Learned that you need to disable detectors, seal vents, and let a gas appliance run in an enclosed space. The symptoms started with headaches and nausea, then confusion, then unconsciousness, then death. Quiet, peaceful, like falling asleep. She made notes, drew diagrams, planned every detail. On December 12th, she tested the loft's ventilation, closed all the windows, sealed the vents with tape, ran the gas stove for an hour. The detector went off within 20 minutes. She turned everything off, opened the windows, and removed the batteries from the detector. When Devin came home that night, He asked why the loft smelled like gas. The pilot light went out, she lied. I had to relight it. You should have called me, babe. That's dangerous. I know. I'm sorry. He kissed her forehead. Just be careful, okay? I will. But careful wasn't part of the plan anymore. On December 18th, Simone called her parents. Hey, Mama. Hey, baby. How you doing? I'm good. Listen, I wanted to let you know Devin and I won't be able to come up for Christmas this year. What? Why not? Work stuff. I've got a big event right after the holidays. I need to prep. Her mother sighed. That's disappointing, Simone. We were looking forward to seeing you. I know, Mama. I'm sorry. We'll visit in January. I promise. You better. Your daddy misses you. I miss him too. Tell him I love him. I will, baby. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Mama. Simone hung up and stared at her phone. That was the last time she'd talked to her mother as the woman she used to be. After Christmas, everything would be different. She'd either be free or in prison. Either way, the old Simone was already gone. December 20th, Simone went to the grocery store and bought everything she needed for Christmas Eve dinner. Ham, sweet potatoes, green beans, rolls, dessert. She wanted to look perfect, like a real family meal. At the checkout, the cashier smiled. Big dinner planned. Yeah, family's coming over. That's nice. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Simone loaded the bags into her car and drove home. That night, she cooked a practice meal, timed everything, made sure she knew exactly how long each dish would take. Devin came into the kitchen while she was cooking. Smells amazing, babe. What's the occasion? Just practicing. I invited your mom and the kids over for Christmas Eve. Devin froze. You did what? I invited them over. I think it's time we all spend the holidays together. Don't you? His face was unreadable. Simone, I don't think that's a good idea. Why not? She's your mother. They're your family. She almost said, your children, but stopped herself. Devin rubbed his face. It might be awkward. It'll be fine. I insist. He stared at her for a long moment, then nodded slowly. Okay, if that's what you want. It is. He kissed her cheek and walked away. Simone stood at the stove, stirring the pot, and smiled. December 22nd, 2 days before Christmas Eve, Simone went to Target and bought gifts. Toys for the children, a scarf for Vanessa, a watch for Devin. She wrapped them carefully, wrote names on the tags, and placed them under the tree. She wanted everything to look normal, festive, joyful. That night, she couldn't sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, running through the plan in her mind. Step 1, serve dinner. Step 2, slip crushed sleeping pills into their drinks. Step 3, wait for them to get drowsy. Step 4, seal the vents, turn on the stove, and leave. Step 5, come back in the morning and call 911. It was simple, clean, and if she did it right, no one would ever know. She thought about the children. 5, 3, and 2. Innocent. They didn't ask to be born into this. But they were part of it. Part of the lie. Part of the betrayal. And Simone couldn't let them grow up knowing what their parents had done. It was mercy, she told herself. She was setting them free. December 23rd. Simone's co-worker, Tasha, called. Girl, what are you doing for Christmas? Having dinner with Devin and his family. That's nice. His mom coming. Yeah, and some other family. Well, have fun. Call me after. I want to hear all about it. I will, Tasha. Love you, girl. Love you too. Simone hung up and realized that might be the last normal conversation she ever had. By this time tomorrow, 5 people would be dead, and she'd be a murderer. The word sat heavy in her mind. Murderer. She rolled it around, tested it, tried to feel something. Guilt. Fear. Regret. But all she felt was emptiness. And resolve. December 24th, Christmas Eve. Simone woke up at 6 a.m. Devin was still asleep. She slipped out of bed, went to the kitchen, and started cooking. By noon, the loft smelled like a holiday feast. Ham in the oven, Sweet potatoes mashed and seasoned. Green beans simmering. Rolls warming. Devin came out of the bedroom around 1 p.m. Wow, babe. You've been busy. I want everything to be perfect. It already is. He wrapped his arms around her from behind and kissed her neck. Simone stood there, stiff, feeling nothing. At 3 p.m., she set the table. Good dishes. Cloth napkins. Candles. She even put on Christmas music. Silent Night played softly in the background. The irony wasn't lost on her. By 5 p.m., everything was ready. Simone went to the bathroom, looked at herself in the mirror. She wore a red sweater and jeans. Hair pulled back. Minimal makeup. She looked like a woman preparing for a holiday dinner, not a woman preparing for murder. She whispered to her reflection, "You can do this." At 5:45 p.m., there was a knock on the door. Simone's heart didn't race. Her hands didn't shake. She walked to the door and opened it. Vanessa stood there, visibly pregnant, holding the hand of the 2-year-old. Behind her, the 5-year-old and 3-year-old. And next to them, Devin. He must have gone to pick them up. "Merry Christmas," Simone said, smiling. Vanessa looked nervous. "Merry Christmas, Simone." The children stared at her with wide eyes. Simone knelt down. "Hi, guys. I'm Simone. Come on in. I made cookies." The 5-year-old, a boy, smiled shyly. "Cookies? Yeah. Chocolate chip. Your favorite, right?" He nodded. Simone stood and stepped aside. They filed in. Devin carried bags of gifts. Vanessa clutched her purse. The children ran to the Christmas tree. "Wow. Presents," the 3-year-old girl squealed. Simone closed the door and locked it. The sound of the deadbolt clicking felt final. Dinner was served at 6:30 p.m. Everyone sat around the table. The children in booster seats. Vanessa next to Devin. Simone across from them. She served the food, poured drinks. Sweet tea for the kids. Wine for the adults. But Vanessa's glass was sparkling cider, since she was pregnant. Simone had crushed 10 sleeping pills into a fine powder and mixed it into the cider. Another 10 in Devin's wine. 5 in each of the kids' cups. "Everything looks amazing," Devin said, raising his glass. "To family." Vanessa hesitated, then raised hers. "To family." They drank. Simone watched. The 5-year-old gulped his tea. "This is yummy." "I'm glad you like it, baby," Simone said softly. They ate. The children talked about Santa. Vanessa complimented the food. Devin smiled, oblivious. Within 30 minutes, the 5-year-old yawned. "I'm sleepy." "Me too," the 3-year-old said, rubbing her eyes. Vanessa frowned. "That's strange. They napped earlier." "Maybe they're just tired from all the excitement," Simone said. Devin yawned too. "Man, I don't know why I'm so tired." "Long day," Simone said. "Why don't you all relax on the couch? I'll clean up." "You sure, babe?" "Yeah, go ahead." They moved to the living room. The children curled up on the couch. Vanessa sat next to them, her eyes heavy. Devin sprawled in the armchair, his head tilting back. Simone cleaned the kitchen slowly, methodically. She washed dishes, wiped counters, and waited. By 7:30 p.m., the 2-year-old was asleep. Then the 3-year-old. Then the 5-year-old. Vanessa's eyes fluttered. I don't feel good." Devin didn't respond. He was already unconscious. Vanessa looked at Simone, her face pale. What did you do?" Simone walked over and knelt in front of her. "What you should have done a long time ago." "Stop." Vanessa tried to stand, but her legs gave out. She collapsed back onto the couch. "Simone, please. The kids. They won't feel anything. I promise." Vanessa's eyes filled with tears, but she couldn't keep them open. Within seconds, she was out. Simone stood and looked at them. 5 bodies, unconscious, breathing softly. She walked to the windows and sealed them with plastic sheeting and duct tape. Then the vents. Every crack, every gap. The loft became airtight. She went to the stove, turned on all 4 burners, and didn't light them. Gas hissed into the air. She grabbed her purse, her phone, her keys. took one last look at the scene. Devin slumped in the chair. Vanessa and the children on the couch. The Christmas tree glowing softly behind them. It almost looked peaceful. Simone walked out, locked the door from the outside, and left. She drove to a 24-hour diner in Decatur. Ordered coffee. Sat in a booth by the window. The waitress asked if she was okay. Yeah, just a long day. I hear that. Merry Christmas, hon. Merry Christmas. Simone sat there for hours, staring at her phone, waiting. At 11:30 p.m., she drove back to the loft. Parked a block away. Walked slowly. When she reached the building, she unlocked the door and stepped inside. The smell hit her immediately. Gas. Thick. Suffocating. She pulled her scarf over her nose and mouth, walked to the living room. They were all still there, unmoving. She checked pulses. Devin, none. Vanessa, none. The children, none. It was done. Simone opened the windows, turned off the stove, let the gas clear. Then she pulled out her phone and called 911. Her voice shook, but not from guilt, from adrenaline. 911, what's your emergency? My husband, oh my God, my husband. I came home, and they're not breathing. Please send someone. Ma'am, what's your address? Simone gave it, sobbing into the phone. Please hurry. There are children. Please. Help is on the way. Stay on the line. But Simone hung up. She sat on the floor, pulled her knees to her chest, and waited. 7 minutes later, she heard sirens. Paramedics arrived at 11:37 p.m. Simone met them at the door, tears streaming down her face. Please help them. I don't know what happened. They rushed inside, checked pulses, started CPR, but it was too late. One paramedic turned to Simone. Ma'am, how long have you been gone? Since around 8. I want to see a friend. When I came back, they were like this. Do you smell gas? Gas. Oh my God. The stove. Did I leave the stove on? The paramedic radioed for fire and police. Within minutes, the loft was swarming with responders. Simone sat on the curb outside, wrapped in a blanket, crying. Neighbors gathered, whispered. A police officer knelt beside her. Mrs. Mitchell, I'm Officer Daniels. Can you tell me what happened? I don't know. I came home and found them. Is my husband okay? Please tell me he's okay. I'm sorry, ma'am. They're gone. All of them. Simone's scream was raw, guttural. Neighbors flinched. Officer Daniels put a hand on her shoulder. I'm so sorry for your loss. The fire marshal arrived around midnight. He inspected the loft, checked the stove, the vents, the windows. He spoke with the lead paramedic, then approached Simone. Mrs. Mitchell, I'm Marshal Green. It looks like carbon monoxide poisoning. The stove was left on, all 4 burners. Gas filled the space. I must have left it on. Oh God, this is my fault. Were the windows sealed? Simone looked up, confused. Sealed. There's plastic sheeting on the windows. Tape on the vents. I don't know. My husband was worried about drafts. He must have done it to keep the heat in. Marshal Green nodded slowly, writing notes. And where were you tonight? At my friend Tasha's. We had wine, talked. I lost track of time. What time did you leave? Around 11. I got home maybe 20 minutes later, and everyone was already unconscious. Yes. I tried to wake them, but they wouldn't move. So I called 911. Green studied her for a moment. We'll need to investigate further. This is standard procedure. I understand. Do you have somewhere to stay tonight? Simone shook her head. I'll call my friend. Green nodded and walked away. Simone pulled out her phone and called Tasha. Hello. Tasha's voice was groggy. Tasha, it's me. I need you. Simone? What's wrong? Devin's dead. They're all dead. The next morning, December 25th, Christmas Day, the story hit the news. Tragic Christmas Eve accident claims 5 lives in Midtown Atlanta. Devin Mitchell, 28, his mother Vanessa Mitchell, 47, and 3 young children died from carbon monoxide poisoning. Simone watched the report from Tasha's couch, eyes hollow. Tasha sat beside her, crying. I can't believe this, Simone. I'm so sorry. It's my fault, Simone whispered. I should have checked the stove. Stop. This wasn't your fault. But Simone kept repeating it. I killed him. I killed them all. Simone, stop. You didn't know. Simone didn't respond. Just stared at the screen. Over the next week, the city mourned. Candlelight vigils were held. A GoFundMe was started for funeral expenses. Simone's parents flew down immediately. Her mother held her, rocked her. My baby, my poor baby. Her father spoke to police, confirming Simone had called them around 8:30 p.m. Christmas Eve to wish them Merry Christmas. She sounded fine, happy even. Simone played the grieving widow perfectly. Black dress, swollen eyes, trembling hands. At the funeral on January 2nd, 2019, she stood before 5 caskets and sobbed. She gave a eulogy. Devin was my everything. Vanessa welcomed me like a daughter. And those beautiful children, they deserved so much more. I'll never forgive myself for not being there, for not saving them. The church was silent, except for her cries. People whispered she was the most devastated widow they'd ever seen. But there was one person who wasn't convinced. Detective Marcus Cole. He'd been assigned a case on December 26th. Something about it didn't sit right. He started digging. On January 5th, he visited the loft, now sealed as a crime scene. He examined the plastic sheeting, the tape on the vents. It was thorough, too thorough. He checked the stove. All 4 burners had been turned on, but not lit. Deliberate. He pulled the building's security footage. Simone left at 7:52 p.m., returned at 11:23 p.m. 3.5 hours. He called Tasha. Ms. Reynolds, this is Detective Cole. I need to ask about Christmas Eve. What time did Simone arrive at your place? I don't know. I was asleep. She said she was with you. She did? I mean, she called me that night, but she wasn't here. Cole's jaw tightened. Thank you, Ms. Reynolds. He hung up and made a note. Simone lied about her alibi. On January 8th, Cole requested toxicology reports. When they came back, his suspicions were confirmed. All 5 victims had high levels of diphenhydramine in their systems. Sleeping pills. Enough to sedate them before the gas killed them. This wasn't an accident. It was murder. Cole called Marshall Green. We need to reopen this as a homicide. You sure? Positive. Someone drugged them, sealed the loft, and turned on the gas. This was planned. Who's your suspect? Cole didn't hesitate. The wife. On January 12th, Cole showed up at Tasha's apartment where Simone was staying. He knocked. Tasha opened the door. Detective, I need to speak with Mrs. Mitchell. Simone appeared behind Tasha, face calm. It's okay, Tasha. Let him in. They sat in the living room. Cole pulled out his notebook. Mrs. Mitchell, I need to clarify a few things. You said you were with Ms. Reynolds Christmas Eve. That's right. Ms. Reynolds says you weren't. Simone blinked. I must have been confused. I went for a drive. I needed to clear my head. A drive? For 3 hours. Yes. Where did you go? I don't remember. I just drove. Cole leaned forward. Mrs. Mitchell, toxicology reports show everyone in that loft was drugged. Sleeping pills. Do you know anything about that? Simone's face didn't change. No. We also found that the loft was deliberately sealed. Plastic on windows. Tape on vents. And the stove was turned on, but not lit. Someone staged this to look like an accident. Are you accusing me of something, detective? I'm asking questions. Simone stood. I think you should leave. Cole stood too. This isn't over, Mrs. Mitchell. Get out. He left, but he wasn't done. Over the next 2 weeks, he built his case. He pulled Simone's phone records. She'd searched carbon monoxide poisoning symptoms multiple times in December. She'd purchased sleeping pills from 3 different pharmacies. He pulled her credit card statements. Hardware store purchases. Plastic sheeting. Duct tape. He interviewed Leonard Hayes, the private investigator. Leonard confirmed Simone hired him to investigate Devin and Vanessa. She wanted proof they were having an affair, and that he'd fathered her children. Did you find proof? Yes. Birth certificates. Medical records. Everything. Cole had his motive. On January 28th, he presented his findings to the district attorney. She found out her husband was having an incestuous relationship with his mother. She snapped, planned their murders, staged it to look like an accident. The DA reviewed the evidence. Arrest her. January 30th, 2019. Simone was at her parents' hotel room when there was a knock. Her father opened the door. Detective Cole stood there with 2 uniformed officers. Simone Carter Mitchell, you're under arrest for 5 counts of murder. Simone didn't move. Her mother screamed, "No, not my baby." Officers cuffed Simone. Read her rights. Her father tried to intervene. "There's been a mistake." "No mistake, sir." They let Simone out. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted, "Did you kill your husband? Did you know about the affair?" Simone said nothing, just stared straight ahead. At the station, she was booked, fingerprinted, photographed. When asked if she wanted a lawyer, she said, yes. Her first court appearance was February 1st. She was denied bail. Flight risk and danger to society, the judge said. Simone was remanded to Fulton County Jail. In her cell, she sat on the thin mattress and stared at the wall. No tears. No regrets. Just silence. Because the truth was, she'd do it all over again. The trial began on September 9th, 2019. The courtroom in downtown Atlanta was packed. Reporters filled the back rows. Simone's parents sat behind the defense table, her mother clutching a tissue. On the other side, distant relatives of Vanessa and Devin. People who'd never known about the incest until after the deaths. Simone walked in wearing a gray dress, hands cuffed. Her face was blank, empty. The prosecution was led by District Attorney Rachel Pemberton, a sharp woman in her 50s known for winning impossible cases. The defense was handled by Martin Cross, a public defender who looked exhausted before the trial even started. Judge Harold Klein presided, stern-faced, no nonsense. The state of Georgia versus Simone Carter Mitchell. 5 counts of first-degree murder. How does the defendant plead? Cross stood. Not guilty, Your Honor. Pemberton's opening statement was brutal. She paced in front of the jury, 12 faces watching intently. Ladies and gentlemen, this case is about premeditation. Cold calculation. Simone Mitchell discovered her husband was in an incestuous relationship with his own mother, that they had 3 children together. And instead of walking away, instead of seeking help, she planned their deaths. She researched carbon monoxide poisoning, bought sleeping pills from multiple pharmacies, purchased plastic sheeting and duct tape. She invited them to Christmas Eve dinner, drugged them, sealed her home, and turned on the gas. Then she left and let them die. She paused, looking at each juror. 5 people. 3 of them children under the age of 6. Innocent. And she killed them all because she couldn't face the truth. Cross stood for the defense. His voice was quieter, less confident. What my client discovered would break anyone. Her husband, the man she trusted, had been lying to her since the day they met. He was sleeping with his own mother, fathering children with her, living a double life. The psychological trauma of that discovery is unimaginable. Simone snapped. This wasn't premeditated murder. This was a woman in crisis who made a terrible, irreversible mistake. The prosecution called their first witness, Detective Marcus Cole. He walked to the stand, was sworn in, and sat. Pemberton approached. Detective Cole, can you walk us through your investigation? Yes, ma'am. Initially, it appeared to be an accidental carbon monoxide poisoning, but inconsistencies emerged. The loft had been deliberately sealed. All 4 stove burners were on, but not lit. And toxicology showed all 5 victims had been drugged. What else did you find? Mrs. Mitchell's internet search history showed multiple queries about carbon monoxide symptoms in the weeks leading up to December 24th. She purchased sleeping pills from 3 different pharmacies, and she hired a private investigator to gather evidence of her husband's relationship with his mother. Did she have an alibi? She claimed to be with a friend, Tasha Reynolds. But Ms. Reynolds confirmed she was not with Mrs. Mitchell that night. Mrs. Mitchell was unaccounted for during the time of the murders. Thank you, Detective. Cross stood for cross-examination. Detective, you said my client was in crisis. Did you find any evidence she sought help? Therapy? Counseling? No, sir. Because she was in shock, wasn't she? Traumatized? That's speculation. But you'd agree discovering your husband fathered children with his own mother would be traumatic? Cole hesitated. Yes. Thank you. Next, the prosecution called Leonard Hayes. He confirmed Simone hired him in July 2018. She wanted proof her husband was the father of Vanessa Mitchell's children. And did you provide that proof? Yes. Birth certificates, medical records, hospital logs. How did Mrs. Mitchell react? She was calm, collected. She thanked me and paid in cash. Calm. Yes, ma'am. Almost too calm. Cross had no questions. The prosecution called Tasha Reynolds. She was nervous, wringing her hands. Ms. Reynolds, did Simone Mitchell visit you Christmas Eve 2018? No. She called me that night around 8:30, but she wasn't at my place. Did she sound distressed? No. She sounded normal. Said Merry Christmas. Thank you. The defense called a psychologist, Dr. Nina Foster. She testified about betrayal trauma. Discovering a spouse in an incestuous relationship can cause acute psychological breaks. Dissociation. Impaired judgment. Could that explain Mrs. Mitchell's actions? Possibly. Extreme trauma can lead to extreme responses. But on cross, Pemberton dismantled her. Dr. Foster, does trauma explain researching murder methods weeks in advance? Well, no. Does it explain buying supplies from multiple stores to avoid suspicion? No. So this wasn't a snap decision. It was planned. I can't say for certain. The most damaging testimony came from the medical examiner. All 5 victims had lethal levels of diphenhydramine, enough to render them unconscious within 30 minutes. Then carbon monoxide filled the space. They never woke up. Would they have felt pain? No. They likely fell asleep and never regained consciousness. Pemberton turned to the jury. She made sure they wouldn't wake up. That's not a crime of passion. That's execution. The defense presented character witnesses. Simone's parents, co-workers, friends, all said the same. She was kind, loving. This isn't like her. But none could explain the evidence. On October 3rd, closing arguments began. Pemberton stood before the jury. Simone Mitchell is not a victim. She's a murderer. Yes, her husband and his mother committed an unspeakable act. But 3 children died because of her rage. 3 innocent lives. That is not justice. That is murder. Cross gave his closing. My client was destroyed by betrayal. She made a terrible choice in a moment of unimaginable pain. That doesn't make her evil. It makes her human. The jury deliberated for 2 days. October 5th, 2019. The jury returned. The courtroom fell silent. The foreperson stood. We, the jury, find the defendant Simone Carter Mitchell guilty on all 5 counts of first-degree murder. Simone didn't react. Her mother collapsed in sobs. Her father held her. On October 20th, sentencing. Judge Klein looked at Simone. Do you have anything to say? Simone stood. Her voice was steady. They destroyed me. They built a life on lies. I just ended it. Gasps filled the room. Judge Klein's face hardened. You murdered 3 children. Life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. 5 consecutive sentences. The gavel came down. Officers led Simone away. Outside, reporters swarmed. Monster or victim, they debated. The city was divided. Some said she was justified. Others called her evil. Simone was transferred to Arendelle State Prison. In her cell, she wrote letters she never sent. To her parents. To Tasha. To no one. Years passed. Psychologists studied her case. The Mitchell syndrome, they called it. Betrayal-induced homicide. Her story became a cautionary tale. In 2023, a journalist visited her. Do you regret it? Simone looked at her through the glass. No, they took everything from me. I just took it back. Even the children. Simone's face didn't change. They were part of the lie. The journalist left shaken. Simone returned to her cell. Some said she was a survivor who snapped. Others said she was a cold-blooded killer. The truth? Maybe both. Because sometimes betrayal doesn't just break you. It rewrites who you are. And Simone Carter Mitchell became someone even she didn't recognize. This is the story of a woman who lost everything and took everyone down with her. You've been watching True Crimes Alter. If this story moved you, share it. And check the pinned comment for our book. Next time, a case where obsession didn't just cross the line. It erased it. You won't want to miss it.